The electricity minister, as you know, is conducting an oversight visit at both Kendal and Lethabo power stations. He seems to be engaging the media at the former. Let's listen in.
The intervention that was made by Mr. Tumelo to have refreshed the leadership at Kendal, we brought Ms. to come and help, and as a result of her presence we were able to lift the energy availability factor. Of course, over the period of the last month or so, we have seen a deterioration of that performance. So we moved Kendal from 81% of the EAF to about 52%. So we came here trying to understand what has been some of the causes of that. So we've got an appreciation that we need to make investments on our milling plant. We need to address the issues of the water treatment plant. So if you were to ask why were those not attended to, the team has been working on them. Part of the challenge is the delay in the procurement as defined in our own procurement regulations. So they've asked the minister to work with the Minister of Finance Treasury to find a dispensation that will make it possible for us to be able to accelerate the procurement of space. And issue, it's an issue across the fleet. So we're grateful for the work that Tshepiso and the team has been doing. The commitment we got was that we'll bring these interventions, and Kendal will strive to ensure that back to the levels.
Apologies there. It seems we've lost our audio connection to the electricity minister, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, currently speaking there at the Kendal power station in Mpumalanga. It's an important story to watch this, especially because what we've learned over the past week or so is that Eskom is experiencing a whole lot more unplanned outages than they'd want, and that's why we've seen load shedding being introduced at short notice twice now this year. In fact, Mteto Nyati, the board chair, speaking at the weekend, mentioned that they are hoping to change tack now by being a whole lot more hands-on perhaps than they were over the past couple of weeks, and perhaps this is in some ways a manifestation of that. In fact, you might not be able to see him, but next to the minister is in fact the CEO of Eskom in Denmark. That audio has been re-established, at least the connection. Let's continue listening in.
For us to achieve that significant milestone in the country, we need to go back. Regression. That's why we moved from that 81% to 52%, which contributes to the dire situation that we had experienced. Of course, there are stations that have experienced what I refer to as catastrophic failure. The degree of the failure resulted in us initiating load shedding. But if everyone were to pull his or her weight, I'm talking the power station, then we'll be in a good position to absorb any cluster of units failing without necessarily resorting to load shedding. But having come out of this conversation, we are buoyant. I think as the ministry, and I'm sure the leadership of Eskom from Megawatt Park, and just reinforcing the work that Tshepiso and the team are doing. So yes, that's the Kendal story. We'll be going to other stations exactly for this, that we don't get to have an experience of standing before the country and apologizing all the time. We should be coming before the country on the back of sustained supply to say this is how we are going to support the growth of the South African economy. Part of the reason that the Minister of Finance is faced with a difficult situation is an economy that's not growing. If the economy was growing at the right levels, we will not be having a trade-offs, because we'll be to be able to support the growth agenda and the broadening of the social wage in this country. Of course, we are at this stage, so Eskom really wants to remove itself from the category of being a part of the structural constraint to be an enabler in relation to economic growth. And I'm confident by the time Minister Godongwana delivers the budget, the next not this one, the conversations will be different, because they will be showing that we are contributing towards an economy that's growing.
Yeah, look, thank you very much, Minister. As the Minister indicated, this is part of our, if you maybe perhaps put it this way, our half-time team talk. It's important that when we have plans and we work our plans, we get results, or we get results that we don't like, that we need to be able to get back to the drawing board and look at how to do some course correction. So the engagement with our staff is quite crucial. We deliver results through our people, and therefore we need to go back as quickly as possible and reconnect with results as expected, that are inhibiting is that we so require, and that are inhibiting being accustomed to the great performance that we have watched in the last 10 months or 11 months. So the session today was very helpful in that regard. We understand what the management team here at Kendal in particular require. We understand the tweaks that we need to make and the urgency that we need to drive in making those tweaks. Some of the aspects discussed this morning here relate to the entire fleet and our approach, and we make the necessary course corrections in that regard. Some of them are specific to the site, as can be expected, and the management team will be well supported in the space for us to go through that. We are disappointed that we are here, but we are very resolute in terms of getting to the ultimate goal that we have promised the people of South Africa, and for that we'll remain on course in terms of our initiative. So thank you very much.
All right. Here from UNC. At the weekend when you were Minister, when you gave the media briefing, the impression created was that we got ourselves into that situation because of the human factor. Unless if I misunderstood you, maybe verify that, but have you been able perhaps to understand whether in your meeting with management there has been somebody who has not done what they need to do, or are you attributing this entirely to technical matters that go beyond human comprehension?
Well, maybe just to make the point that we're confident about the stewardship of when it comes to Kendal and the team, and also across the field. So I make the point that some of the, I mean, if you go to the Machogo incident, all of us were able to diagnose that the manner in which we try to bring 1 unit later was the outage, and I think the same thing.
Look, apologies. We seem to be having challenges with our audio connection to that particular media briefing, but worry not. The full SABC news team is present there listening in to the minister. As soon as there's anything else that emerges worth your attention, we'll certainly bring that to you. So far, the Minister of Electricity telling us there that they feel buoyed after having conversations with management at Kendal power stations. The CEO really reiterating that, saying they understand where they need to make tweaks and will go ahead to do that. Dan Maraganye adding that they're disappointed that they're here, and I suppose he's talking about the bout of load shedding we recently experienced, but also adds that they're very resolute to ensure that they deliver on that mandate to ensure that load shedding is ultimately eradicated. The minister, by the way, is also headed to Lethabo Power Station later on. I imagine there's going to be yet another update when he gets there. As soon as that starts, hopefully we'll be able to bring it to you here on the SABC News channel.